Here we go. All right, welcome back to Crew Call with the Scooters today. And I say this all the time, but we do have a very good friend with us who is one of our business partners as well too. We work with Ocreations so much since we started at Flying Scooter. This is Shawn O'Mara, who is the president and owner of Ocreations, which is on the south side. I just confirmed it is in Bedford Square, and it's a beautiful building. And thank you, Shawn, so much for being with us today, because you're so interesting, because you not only own a business and have a full team of designers that are amazing, but you also are a professor and work at four different universities.
Yeah, wow.
I don't know how you never sleep, clearly, and you have kids, and you have a beautiful office building down on the south side of Pittsburgh. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, Jennifer and Courtney. When I saw that you guys were doing this, I was so glad you asked me to do it, because I think it's a great idea, and it's just glad to be a part of it.
Oh, we're so excited. So a couple questions. So we know that business has changed a lot in the last 5 to 6 weeks. We started seeing changes, I'm sure, as you did, about a month and a half ago, where you start like going, oh yeah, things are really changing, and starting crafting messaging for clients. When did the big swing and switch happen for you? I
think when this all started happening, when I really realized what was going on, one of our clients is Pamani Brothers. And when all of a sudden Pamani Brothers, who we're doing a lot of work with on a monthly basis, says, we have to put everything on hold because right now all of our restaurants are closing. You know what I mean? That's a huge, I mean, they have 41 locations. And when 41 locations come to a halt, that's a big stuff. We've actually now told them, hey, we won't even bill. We'll actually help you guys out, whatever you need to do. So we've been doing some online messaging to do it, because that's a huge hit for a company like that. So I really think the service industry was when that in the aviary, we do work for the aviary, and when all of a sudden you have to just close your doors, no one's allowed in there. So those kind of customers, they can't just work from home, or they can't continue to do stuff. That's when you start to realize that these people are really in trouble.
With Pamani Brothers, because they are, I mean, when you think about Pittsburgh, you think about Prantles, you think about Pamani Brothers. There's like a couple staples
all the P's.
Think about how. I mean, that shift, were you talking to leadership there, and just in terms, because the hospitality industry,
we've been working with, we work directly with the leaders in the marketing department, and they've actually done a pretty good job switching to takeout orders and doing that. Yeah. But that's still only a fraction of your business. And it also never replaces what you're doing. That industry is, they want to be back, have people back in the restaurant. So It's a very interesting industry. So we're taking each client and handling them differently, because some clients need messages put up on their website talking about how they're adapting and adjusting. We also did, one of our clients we do is the Pasta 2, and the Pasta 2, their restaurant is closed down, but now their online sales of the jarred pasta, which we helped them design, is doing great. So they're actually doing great.
Good. Wow.
Online, which is something that they didn't even know if they were going to launch a sauce. We did a sauce, and now they're glad they're in grocery stores, because that's going to keep them busy. So it's one of those things where we learn the clients that are becoming, I think it's all of us, either clients or businesses. The more diverse you can be and the more flexible and agile you can be, the better your company is going to survive. Because this is the time right now when if you weren't diverse or you weren't agile, your company's going to close up. And we're seeing companies that are, that's happening.
How long has Ocreations been in existence? When was your start date?
We were officially an LLC in 2007. And I did it for about 2 years prior to that, where it was more of a freelance. So 2005 to 2007, but 2007, we became an official LLC.
And sorry, Court.
No, you're good.
I just, because your team has been growing. So, I mean, to take hits like this, I mean, everybody was like, oh, you got to get loans, you got to get the grant, you got to do the payroll.
Yeah, we're doing all that.
Yeah. In terms of, so you start hearing from Manny's, the anxiety of your team, you have it as the owner, and somebody going, okay, I need to make sure everybody's feeling safe and secure. How did you communicate with your team?
Well, the one thing, my biggest goal was, don't stop payroll. Figure out a way that we don't have to stop paying our people, because I have a small team. We have, 6 people realistically that are doing it, and they're all talented, and I can't afford to lose them. So my goal was, okay, guys, were we smart? Have we saved some money? That's the rainy day money. No one wants to tap into their rainy day money, but now's the time we have to tap into it. So tap into the rainy day money, if we have to work on our own projects, we will keep these client projects moving. So we started to do that. We did have a few designers that actually worked for us as more of part-time subcontractors to help with Pamani's. So those employees haven't been able to do as much, but I think they knew that. And they were, like I said, they were more part-time handling those projects. But my main core people, the goal is keep everybody trying to work. And so far we've been able to do that. Everybody worked remotely. I tell you what, one of the interesting things is for the first week when they didn't make the stop work order,
Right.
we were all working in the office, and it was a weird feeling because everybody was staying apart, cleaning desks, cleaning doorknobs, but everybody felt uncomfortable. You didn't know why, but it definitely felt strange, like we shouldn't be here. Even though we were almost like a family because we're together every day, people knew that this just didn't feel right. So then we had to make the switch and say, guys, we all have to go work remotely. And that was probably the weirdest transition because, like you said, we're almost like a family. So you don't feel, I'm around those people just as much as I am my personal family. So I didn't feel at all that there was an issue, but you just don't, no one wanted to be the person that said, I went to the grocery store and I just infected my whole team or my family.
Right.
So everybody said, we're going to be better off. And now we have people working in Ohio. We have people working in Gethsemane. I mean, they're working all over the place. It seems to be working. I mean, it's definitely not the ideal situation, but we're going to be better after this.
And your team is so collaborative. I mean, you guys work together on most of the projects, as we know, which is great. How is it? Like, do you guys get on Zooms all the time together? How are you guys still pushing out work?
We always do. When we do projects, everybody's CC'd on email. So everybody chimes in and sees that. We didn't have Zoom when we were doing like conference call lines, and that was awful. And we were trying to figure out a way to do it. So right away I said, look, I got to bite the bullet. Through teaching, I actually realized, hey, we better get in the Zoom platform. Seemed fantastic. So once we did our first Zoom call, we're like, well, this is it. This makes everything easier. Started doing that. We just did our, last week. Okay, hey, it's project list review. Pull up the project list, share the screen. It was almost no different, except for maybe people paid attention a little more because they, they couldn't be distracted. It was interesting, but we did the exact same thing. So everybody's face. I think that's too. There's something about seeing people's faces that's, that's really important. They talk about that through school, which was the asynchronous learning versus the synchronous learning. And it's interesting where you can post stuff all day and people can read it, but really just to see people and interact, we all want that, need that. I think that's going to be a big part of the people's businesses. So Zoom has really been fantastic on so many aspects.
Except for the breach. Yeah, except for the major security breaches. But now that they're locking up,
they're working on it. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't had any issues with that, but there's not that much confidentiality going on in my Zoom meetings right now. If anybody breaks into them, they're going to be bored.
Let me ask a follow-up on what you just said. So you were talking about teaching and going into university life. So I can't even imagine teaching at 3 different universities, but are they on the same platform? Are they?
It's been insane because I taught at the Art Institute for 26 years. When I left there, I still kept my agency, but I started getting offers and started talking to people about teaching other classes. So I teach at Duquesne, Chatham, Point Park, and recently Robert Morris. And I just, teach a class here and there for each one. But this semester I'm doing Chatham, Point Park, and Robert Morris. And each one of them has different learning platforms. So luckily I had been posting stuff and knew some of the learning platforms. But when they switch to that, you need to have everything you're doing in your class on those learning platforms. So I can't just build it and do it, one time. I got to do it 3 times, and they're all different classes. So it literally doubled the work, but it's now okay. It's worth it because later on you'll have that. You can use it for classes later. So it'll make my life going forward, if I ever teach these classes, the same class again, much easier. But right now we've switched. I tried to do conference calls there. It didn't work. Now I do Zoom. I just had a Zoom class this morning and I had 12, 13 students joining on, and it was like I was doing the class with them. I could share my screen, go over projects, and the projects, they're starting to do it and they're working out. So it's been good. It's definitely been a different situation, but I think I'm noticing it too with my kids. Like you said, I have kids, 3 kids at home, and their school's been closed, and just watching them try to adapt and adjust to try to learn online. And these poor teachers, high school teachers and grade school teachers that are trying to take their whole platform and switch it over to an online platform. You have to realize, guys, and it just, people have to just be patient and say, these teachers are doing their best. It is not that easy. If you're an online teacher, it's easy. If you're not, transitioning everything over, just like we know with our workplaces, it's not that easy to quickly, snap your fingers and convert how you do things.
And how are the students like adapting? Like, I know we talked to a college professor yesterday as well, but how do you feel like the morale of your students is right now?
I have students that are doing well that probably enjoy it, but I have some students that are just getting lost in the system. And you can tell that one of my top students, they were letting me know and said that they feel like they don't know what to do. Like this is just overwhelming for them.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't know how to adapt to the idea of not only working on there, but just the world around them changing. And it's hard to be creative and just keep acting like everything's going on. So I think if some of them are doing well, it's been getting better. As we're going along, I really think when they were doing the videos and when they're starting to see their projects, and I'm also, they're getting good grades on their projects, I think it's also being flexible. You can't grade and you can't act like nothing's changed. You have to be more flexible. You have to, hey, I know I told you it was supposed to be this font, but it's okay, you picked a different font. Like at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. But just be glad they're getting their projects in. So I think I've become much more flexible on projects. And I'm still getting a good outcome.
So I'm going to get an A on what I submitted. I just want to make sure that
you're going to get a critique when you submit something. The students are still getting, that's my problem. I love to critique work. Mm-hmm. And my problem is I don't like to type that much. So now the problem is what I can say in 2 minutes to a student. I have to type, and they can't, they probably can't even read my notes because I'm just trying to type as I think instead of, instead of laying it out properly and grammatically correct. I mean, that's the hardest part, is giving good feedback and not taking so much time with, all these different schools to be able to do it properly. So I feel like that's why I'm a much better teacher on ground than I am online, because I hate typing all your feedback's a lot harder. So
direct to camera video messaging.
Yeah.
This was good.
I did that to a girl today. I just told her, I said, please, I'll set up a meeting. I can do this so much faster. And we did it. It was just so much easier because she needed more help, and it was just easier to do it.
We were talking, Course and I were talking earlier just about, and this goes into just the workplace, back into the workplace, but trying to do business as usual with all of this additional anxiety on top of it. Are you having trouble, or is your team having trouble finding like the boundaries of, because you roll out of bed and you have 1,000 text messages, you have all of these emails. It's, business has not stopped.
It's not business as usual. That's the problem. And I've actually had to do where I just write down literally next to my desk, my task list. I literally write, and I don't care if that task list includes go change the laundry or whatever I need to do. I have to write it down because I find myself, it's so easy to get distracted, and it's so easy. And especially with, being the owner, and you start to, I've been overwhelmed with just, Pittsburgh, the payroll assistance programs, and, trying to figure out, okay, how do I get money that's coming to us to start to keep this business going? If you're not going to lay your employees off, then you need to find that money. You know what I mean? So I just write it down as a task, like, okay, I'll focus on this part right now. And that's part of my job, is, okay, try to find some money, or try to reach out to clients that I haven't talked to and make sure they're okay. What do they need to do? So I think it's been the task list has been a big help to me, just writing it down and trying to stay with it and cross it off.
What do you think the biggest anxiety that you have, or maybe just something that you've been thinking about that you're like, or even a part of the business? I think we're trying, so I'll give it to you from our side. We're always looking at, you say yes to so many things because your clients need so many things. Yep. When do you start saying no? And when do you start kind of putting going, I need to protect everybody's brain. The creative brain is a sensitive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think we're just trying to understand how much, when to say no and how to say no.
Yeah, our problem is I think it's identifying who are the clients that you can't afford to lose. You know what I mean? Who can't you say no to? And also, what are they asking for? Are they requesting the right things? Because I think a lot of that is everybody's nervous and reacting. I had one client that says they're heating and cooling company, and they said, we're just going to stop everything. I said, you can't do that. I said, you can't. People are going to need, they're going to be at home working, and their air conditioners aren't going to turn on. And they're going to need
absolutely.
I said, but guess what? You don't need maybe to do some stuff that was going to be, maybe you don't need a billboard right now, but you do need that those digital ads because people are sitting in front. I've never had more people accept my LinkedIn, you know, hey, send out a LinkedIn invitation. I've had more people accept it that would have never talked to me before. People are in front of their computers.
Yeah.
They're in front of digital marketing. Digital marketing right now it's a big thing. If people can get out there on social media, people are paying attention to it. Like I said, I sat and watched every one of your videos. And normally would I have time to do that? I don't know.
Right.
But right now it's fascinating to me because I wanted to be in that space. I said, I love the idea of what you're doing. And if you just fade away, and I told all my clients right now, I said, our goal is not to be reactive. We're normally reactive. Right now we need to be proactive because I'm not worried about sales for April. People say, how's your April? I already sold that stuff. I'm worried about how we're going to do in June because that's right now when I'm trying to make sales for June, those people are the ones that don't have money or don't have projects. So right now we're doing what we were already scheduled to do. It's, to me, my biggest worry or concern is probably where are we going to be in June?
Yeah.
Where are we going to be? You know what I mean? Where's the money going to be? I just talked to a guy that owns a furniture company. He said, right now people are reacting. Where are they going to be when they're not opening up that new office plaza? What are they going to do when that strip mall is not being built?
Yeah.
We know clients that are right now, a bunch of architects that were laid off because they build airports and strip malls. These guys, I mean, think about that. They're not building airports. They're not designing new airports. Like those, there's some businesses that are affected. I think that's what's going to be interesting is we don't even realize who's going to be affected. People are going to be affected in different ways. And I think we're going to see that in 6 months from now, not right now, you know?
No, I think you're totally right. And we've been changing the first 4 weeks. It was very much a crisis. It was get the messaging, make sure we have it for long-term, understand what that is. But we've been switching all of our clients to long-term plan. It's okay. What does this look like now? And be realistic. You know, the rest of the year is not going to look like what you thought the rest of the year would look like. What do we need to do to get ahead of it? And what do we need to do to start thinking about strategic long-term planning? So that's been a huge shift. And that's helped too, because a lot of the CEOs that we work with go, oh, now is the time to be thinking about doing all that and getting ahead of the curve a little bit. Well, production might be on the back burner a little bit. You're not at 100% or something. So we've been thinking about all of that. And that's, you know, you're smart to say, who do you need to keep and work with?
Yeah. I mean, you make sure who really needs you right now. Who can you just kind of ease off on and say, look, they probably don't need anything right now, or they're stressed out. They, you know, just be selective of who you're working on. And we just had a client last night, brand new client. They're busy as can be. And these guys are ready. They want to launch their website and get it going because they're busy with their products. I mean, and there's people out there that are, and a lot of times people right now are trying to do those things that they've been putting off. So now's a good time to, you know, hey, we haven't updated our website. We haven't done this. That's a good time for people to do that. And we said, look, we're even flexible on, if we know you're going to do this, let's make payment plans. Let's figure out how to do this and make it work, you know, because we don't want to, I want to keep my people busy. So that's the goal, is make sure they're still working. And now's the time to do it. If we go dormant, I'm afraid that, you know, with a lot of companies, if you go dormant and close up, you may not open back up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that just may not happen. So, I mean, for us, it's keep it moving, figure out a way to do it. And maybe we can learn from this. That's what I'm hoping is maybe we get stronger and better. You know what I mean?
Well, you guys are so great, and immediately jumped on because Bob called and was like, we have another project that we want to jump into. And you guys were so incredible, helping with, there's a benefit concert on the 18th for Pittsburgh area service staff aid. And you guys jumped in and did the logo and are doing some other stuff. So I just, you know, you guys do that all the time.
Well, that was, you know, that was the other thing is if right now, if we make it all about money, and that's what's hard not to, because my job is to worry about the money. But I said, we have to also be careful of, are we doing it? Are we thinking about our clients long-term? Are we thinking about the community long-term? And what can we do that's going to make, you know, everybody keeps saying we're all in this together, but what can you do to make sure you're doing that? And it's also hard because how do you do things that are the right things that are really going to help? You know what I mean? Because we want to all help our own businesses, but we also want to make sure that in the big picture, you know, one of our clients is Visit Pittsburgh. And the goal is, how do we think about tourism and travel for the next, I mean, that's going to be a tricky industry. People aren't going anywhere. We have another client who has a hotel and he's converting it to apartment buildings now. I mean, that's a huge change. And it's just because something he's been thinking about doing, and that's something he has to do. And it's a sign of the times, but it's also something that anybody that's been thinking of changing their job, changing their business, changing their life is going to do that right now. I said, we all have to do this. I mean, there are some positive things. I said, I think, with my kids, my oldest is 18, but 3 kids, this is the first time that I've spent 2 weeks eating family dinners. And we've actually been able to go home and have family dinners from there. And we got to make that's got to be a good thing. We have to look at that as a huge benefit. Yeah. And something my wife said, she laughs because they all play AAU sports or extra sports. She says, it's almost nice that these have stopped because life's gone back. We feel like we're back in the 1950s, and it's actually really nice. I mean, there's a really nice part of that. I mean, so you got to look at there got to be some positive. If we don't come out with some positives of this and change a little bit, I think we're all going to be in trouble. So I think we all have to look at what is important to us and what is not. Go from there.
I think that's a good point.
In terms of the business, well, actually, I'm going to, and I'll ask this question. Courtney was talking about the other day. She goes, don't you think that the greens are greener and the blues are bluer? Like all of the colors since spring is
not there today, but yes.
Yeah, but I mean, it's so true. I would say that everything just feels more vibrant, and it's probably the global warming.
It's true though. But they said they shot a picture online that said, "Here's a picture of the Himalayas. First time they're able to see the Himalayas because of lack of pollution. Like you can actually look up and see the range, the mountain range." I says, and that's around here. It feels like I've walked through Southside. Southside is cleaner, quiet. It's very strange down here. But I tell you what though, I got to tell Pittsburgh, I am so proud of Pittsburgh because we walk through Southside. People are doing what they're supposed to do. They're staying off the streets. They're not. I mean, there are other cities not listening. You walk around our town, we are listening, and we're doing it. And it's starting to show in the numbers too. I mean, our hospital. My wife's a nurse practitioner, so she's out there every day working. She's going into people's homes and doing that. So it's scary for her to be able to do that. But she said, as a city, we're listening, and it's showing in our hospital numbers. And if we can do this and control that, it's gonna get us through this a lot quicker.
I wasn't thinking about your wife. I'm so sorry. I didn't even ask. So what is she doing?
She's a nurse practitioner, and she works for a branch of Children's Hospital. So basically, when children are released from the hospital, she does home care. So right now, she's actually in their homes, which has been there haven't been as many surgeries, but she's been in there. But she said it's, the kids aren't used to her coming in with fully masked and gowned and doing that, but she's been there every day, every morning going out and doing it. And it's, it's scary because she even said, like, we went to see her mother yesterday from a distance to drop something off, and she won't even go in her own mother's house. She said, our own family, we might be immune to it, but she's worried about, because she knows that, she can be a risk to other people. She's out there doing it. So it's hard for her in that aspect, but as a family, we've become a lot closer, because we've all been around to be able to do that. And tell you what, we've done more family walks and things like that. So it's family wise, I think it's been fantastic for us to slow down. Work wise, those are two separations. Work, if money wasn't involved, I think we could all get through this a lot easier. The fact is that it's the financial aspect and also the lives, people, the fact that people right now, we haven't been touched as much in Pittsburgh as New York has been, but when you start to know family members and people you start to know, that's when it starts to hit home more.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
That's true.
Are you thinking about, it's probably my last major question, but are you thinking about any changes you were talking about how people are changing their businesses or thinking about changes. Is there something that you guys are starting?
One of the things we said is we are going to make sure that this work from home model or flexible model can actually be used or implemented. For example, one of my designers right now went back home because she wanted to stay with her mother doing this, and she's in Ohio. Yeah. I said, there's no reason if she has to go to Ohio and wants to be there for Monday and Tuesday of a week that she couldn't do this and work from that area. You know what I mean? And because we know now that people can be productive and work from home. So I think that us realizing that, people working from home, they are productive and can do that. So I said that may allow us to be a little more flexible and not have to, to have people take vacation time to get work done, or they could still do that. So I think we're going to try to adopt that model as needed, where If
Mhm.
people, if people want to become more flexible, we want to keep our office. We want to still do that. But I think the
Okay.
idea of opening it up to be more flexible would be crazy not to.
Well, I appreciate you so much, and thank you for just hanging out with us today.
Oh, this has been good.
Yeah.
I tell you what, anytime I get to see other faces, you know what I mean? It's
I
amazing
know,
when you
right?
see people. A
No, we
little girl in my neighborhood did it the best. We were doing a walk and she was waving and jumping to everyone that walked by. And
Oh
her
my
mother said,
gosh.
she just likes to see other people now, but she was so excited. I said, that's the way we are right now. I said, we're just so used to human contact. We take it for granted that right now, it's just so nice to see people's faces.
Yeah, it really absolutely is.
Well, keep up the good work.
Yes,
always.
seriously. And thank you again so much for helping.
Thank you. And if you guys need
branding.
anything, just let me know. Thank you so
Promise
much.
we will.
I'm
We
glad I
got
could do this.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Take care.
Okay,
Bye.
take care. Tell everybody hi.
Yeah.
See you. I will.
Thank you.